I'm Mia, and this is my first video of the year. But yeah, this is my first post of the new year. Not my first look of the new year, technically, because it's still December while I film this. I like to be ahead of myself here. Technically, it's still before Christmas as I filmed this. And I should have done this yesterday, but I got a little delayed. But I did get my stuff for my auto order in, so I do want to play with some of that. So yeah. But yeah, my auto order came in, thank God. I'm not actually gonna lie, this is technically a powder. Not technically, it is. I'm gonna do something a little different than I usually do. Hopefully, theoretically, if I can get this open. This is from Colourpop Cosmetics. This is one of their Jelly Much Gel eyeshadows in the shade Shiny Penny. It's one of those beautiful, like, bronze golds with green reflex. And so much of this came off on the lid, but it's fine. Everything's fine. Like look at her. She's beautiful. She's perfect. She doesn't look like a shiny penny. She looks like a very old penny, but still. But I'm going to take some of it on a little, slightly denser brush than I would normally go in with. And I'm going to start to lay that down and try to make like kind of a halo eye shape. It's kind of wishful thinking, I know, but I do kind of have a plan. Or at least I have a vision. Not so much a plan, but I do in fact have a vision. But I'm going to start to press this like right there. And then with a little more, I'm going to go on the other side of the eye and kind of the same nonsense. But yeah, it's Monday, so it's the 22nd, I think, December 22nd, obviously, if it's still before Christmas. We did some of our usual shenanigans today, and then I went out with my father because he was going to go do stocking stuffers, and I'm like, I'll come. Worst mistake ever, because we went to Five Below. I helped him choose stocking stuffers. I'm like, ooh, I think your daughter would kind of like this. He's like, oh, do you really think so? I'm like, oh, yes. I do, in fact, believe. It's me. I'm the daughter in question. It's only me and my brother. And daughter's a strong word, but I'm not going to say that to a 53-year-old man. But then he's like, we can go to Costco. I'm like, yeah, that was the worst fucking idea ever. Costco is always packed whenever we go anyways. But, you know, 3 days before Christmas is really pushing it. And no one knew what they were doing or how to act. There's a guy, you know, I was grabbing a sample. Wow, I know, that's kind of what Costco does. And, you know, I wasn't even in there. This is just a clean brush. I'm going to try to use it to blend and not clean, but contain a little. So, you know, I'm 2 seconds in grabbing a sample, and that dude is literally pressed up behind me. So the moment I move, half of his body is on mine. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why are you... Ooh, I'm gonna bleep that. I'm like, why are you up my ass? And, you know, he didn't say boo. And I'm like, I don't know if he understood a word I said, but I'm like, there's no reason for you to be this close to me. Ever. And it wasn't even anything interesting. It was, a ginseng drink. Like, you do not need... Like, it does not... This is not... Tis awful. Then the line was awful. The parking lot was awful. It was just... Ooh, no, that is not where I want any of that. It was just like an all-around awful experience. And like, and we left and we just looked at each other. We were like, why did we think this was a good idea? My father's like, we're supposed to... He's like, we're the creative ones in the family. I'm like, speak for yourself. I'm like, I was in AP and honors classes, thank you very much. But it was literally the worst experience. We didn't even buy anything. The Five Below is right there, and his membership expires. Ooh, there's something in my eye. In March, and every time we go, I'm like, I'm just making the most of your membership money by eating all these samples. He's like, you know what, you're so right. I'm like, I know. So that's usually why we go. We never actually buy anything these days. But we're like, no, we could have done without this. Oh, and then we ended up getting hot dogs, which is funny because I don't like hot dogs that much. And I'm like, it's December, why would I get a hot dog? And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a drink. I'm like, I'm not gonna drink it now. But I'm gonna save it and I'll put ice in it and I'll make myself a drink later. Guy cut me off as I was actively like moving and touching the machine. So I'm like, oh, it's just stupid people today. I'm like, I know. I'm like, men, and like it's always men that are like this, like politely. Y'all kind of suck. Like, this is why I don't date you. Like, besides the fact that I have no attraction to you, this is why I don't date you, because you are evil and awful. And yeah. But I'm gonna blend this out as much as I can. I'm trying to keep it in like kind of a semi-rounded shape because I do have a plan. Hopefully, theoretically, fingers crossed. And then I'm just gonna build up a little more just on the edges here. I hate, like, I know this was my idea, I have only myself to blame, but I hate doing halo eyes so much just because my eyes aren't even, so this never looks even. But it's fine, everything's fine. No, that's fine. And then this was also new in my auto order. This is from, well, the shade is new. I have Blushing Lizard already. This is from Half Magic. This is one of the eyeshadow singles, and I got mine in the shade Swamp Goddess, which is like this kind of like iridescent bronzy green. So I figured do a little bit of that in the middle, and it kind of ties in with all of this. And I'm like, hee hee hee, ha ha ha. See, definitely more just green. So if I do a little bit of that, it kind of works. And now there's glitter all over my pants. Again, I did tap this off, and I'm just going to use this to blend out the edges a little as well. Again, just want a little something different, you know? But, gonna... Not that it looks like I'm giving myself pink eye, but that's what kind of... It's going a little more rosy than I thought it was going to be. But it's also fine, because I can always just go back in with a little bit of the Shiny Penny shade and reinforce things if I need to. It's fine. C'est la vie. And now this is from NYX. This was the Epic Wear liner kit that they did for the holidays. I think none of these are new shades. But if I can get any of them out, it comes with 4. Silver, gold, black, brown. I'm going to go in with the brown. Like I said, if I can get it out. This is just in the shade Brown Shimmer. Oh, it's shimmery? I don't think I knew that. So I'm going to do some right here, and since this is still sharp, I'm going to try to do like a more rounded corner, and then I'm going to drag this part underneath. I'm not going to touch this all that much besides just dragging, and then I'm also going to very carefully do a little swoop and a swoop, and then bring this in a little, and I'm gonna kind of bring it in and like properly line. And again, this is a very delicate process, and this was probably a horrible, awful idea that I had. And again, I'm just going to bring some of this, and then flat edge brush because I can get a little more. Okay, just do a little. And then kind of go over the inner corner because that just looked very uneven. And this looks like garbage. And again, I'm just gonna drag and flick it out a little. Alright, I'm gonna do the other eye off camera because you're lucky I managed to get this down at all. But I'm gonna finish this eye, I'm gonna put on some lashes, and I will be back in a moment. Alright, I'm back with lashes. I hate how this looks, but I can't. So we're gonna move on to the base. I'm gonna go in with the NYX Plump Right Back Serum Primer. You may have noticed, hey, you've got kind of a dot on your face. I have a pimple patch here. Because even though it wasn't a whitehead yet, I know where she was gonna end up being. And I don't like that kind of attitude in my life. Also, I just discovered that my favorite pajama pants have a hole in the crotch. You know how I discovered this? Because I'm wearing them. And it's just not the vibes, man. But obviously, I did this eye. I added a little to this. I did also add a little bit more of the Colourpop Jelly Much shade. So I'm trying my best here. Like I said, I just want to do something a little different. I want to kind of step outside my comfort zone, shape and color wise this year when it comes to my eyeshadow. And yeah. But I have tomorrow off, and hopefully I get 2 looks done, because I was supposed to do 2 looks yesterday and I didn't do it. And I was supposed to do it earlier because I got home at like 1:45. Not my phone charged because it was at 4% when I got home. And I was like, oh, I'll do my makeup at 3. And then suddenly I look up from my phone and it's 4:48. And I go, oh no. And then I don't even get up here until like 5:12, I think. So, not ideal. But this is from Danessa Myricks Beauty. This is the Yummy Skin Glow Serum in the shade Main Squeeze. Gonna do a whole lot of that. And I forgot to put a lip balm on. But it's okay because I'm just putting on gloss. I know. I've been kind of slacking on my actual lipstick game. But I don't know. I've just, like I said, I have a specific plan for this look. I've had a plan for this look for the past few days. Ooh, I did buy a new eyeshadow palette. I have one from Cosmic Brushes called Muse. I like the mattes. I don't really use the shimmers much, but that's because I usually end up doing different shimmers. But they have a palette called Undergrowth, which is like all greens, and they have these 2 beautiful chartreuse shades. I don't have a good chartreuse in my collection anymore. So. And it's already shipped, and it's already in the US. So. Say la vie. Not say la vie, but like, too late. And I'm gonna go in with the About Face Beauty The Performer Skin Focused Foundation in F2 Olive. I had the thought of using the concealer with this as well, but I generally like not using one brand so many times in a look, generally. And again, like, this isn't even blended, and look at that. So, but I do want to use that concealer a few times out and about. Just, I don't know if I'm olive or if it's because there's so much redness in my face that the green just kind of acts in as a built-in color corrector. Kind of makes things a little more. But I did swatch the new F1 Olive concealer on my neck, and I couldn't tell where that was. Even my friend was like, wow, your neck looks a little green. So, like, I've noticed it before, but like, I just thought it was yellow hues. And I was like, no, I think I'm just a little green. So, again, I never know, but again, if the olive is blended into my neck, which doesn't have any redness, safe to say that it's not because of that. But, get this between my brows. Need to finish this up. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of regret adding an extra day to my New York trip, mostly because of, like, money. Like, I know that there's plenty of things that I can do, probably for free, or very cheap. But, like, you know, trips are one of those things where you're like, oh my god, so much money. And then you're like, oh my, and then once you get there, you're like, oh my god. But I'm thinking Sunday will be kind of a museum day. The day that I get in will be kind of a museum day before my show. because I've had a little shop of hers ticket booked even before I fully extended my trip. Because I'm like, oh, even if I get in, you know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's a 7:30 show. But now that'll be in the night before. I have plenty of time. But I want to go to the Met Cloisters really, really badly. And then I want to go to AKC Museum of the Dog. So, I think those will be my 2 things. And like a snack or 2. And then obviously my show. And then one of my favorite concealers. This is also a really good match, like base-wise. Even with the redness. This is from Kulfi Beauty. This is the main match concealer in the shade Fudge Notch. It's like a very, it's fair neutral, but it's like a little olive. Like, this is one of like the best shades I've ever used. And I know I don't use it that much, it seems, because I often use the Kulfi primer and back to my hole. I don't like overlapping if I don't have to. This look will, but that's like my out concealer, like my going out concealer. It's a very good like everyday concealer for me, so that's where she's used. Well, not every day because I don't do my makeup every day, but you know what I mean. My lips are so dry. I really should have put lip balm on, but by the time I get it put on, it's not gonna like sink into my lips as much as I want it to, so then it's gonna be a hard time doing lip liner, and I'd rather just suffer for 10 minutes before I put on gloss. So it's fine, everything's fine. It's freaking fine. But no, like I said, that pimple patch is just sorry, Boston Globe is emailing me about nonsense the president is doing. And like, that's on me. I signed up for a Boston Globe subscription. I signed up for those types of emails. But I like to be informed. God forbid I be properly informed in a world of misinformation. Who would have guessed? Again, it's just, I can't. Sometimes I think about refilling out my Canadian citizenship application and actually, I'm sorry, that's my hair, and actually submitting it. But that would mean a whole separate ordeal, and that's just so much effort. I already might have to fill out a passport, so, oh yeah. But, moving on to cheeks. This is from e.l.f. This is the Camo Liquid Blush and Contour in the shade Fair Light. Again, this isn't me actively endorsing them. I own this stuff already. I've owned this stuff, I was gonna say for many years. No. For a very long time before Matt Rife and their unapology. So, again, I use what I have. God forbid. But yeah, no. So earlier in the day, I've been getting a lot of like travel TikToks. And there's one to Scotland. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, cows, you know, cathedrals, castles. I'm like, that's my stuff. And I made the joke to my mother. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I could get a passport and go to Scotland. She's like, you could. And I made the joke in front of my brother. He's like, I want to go to Scotland. So it's kind of a joke right now. I'm gonna touch upon it in a few months. Again. But we are right now vaguely thinking. Again, it's mostly a joke. Doubtful that it will ever actually happen. But you know, I would actually like to travel with my brother, but he's very anti-New York. It's the Bostonian in him. So like if this were to ever be a thing, we would do it in April of 2027. He's like, wow, damn. He's like, you need to save that much. I'm like, or because you will be 18 then, so it's gonna be easier to take you out of the country. He's like, that's right. Because if I were to do it, like, not that I would be able to afford to do it this year, especially considering New York is in, whatchamacallit, March, I would need to get, like, a notarized consent form. And so, like, if we do it April, you have April break, and you'd be 18, so it would just make more sense. And then this is from Rhode. This is the Pocket Blush in Tan Line. We're like, wow. I'm like, we stay in Glasgow. You know, we spend a day wandering around there. We spent a day doing one of the guided tours that take you up to like the Highlands. And then we do a little, not day trip because it's a vacation nonetheless. But we do a little day trip down to Edinburgh. Edinburgh? Either way. Because again, we'd have to leave like 2 days for traveling because of the time difference and then just flights and nonsense. Also, fun fact, the Glasgow airport is a 45-minute subway ride to this like city center. And I'm like, which is usually the case for most airports, but like still. And we're like, wow. Again, I'm gonna touch upon it come April because hotels and flights don't let me book out until April of 2027, obviously, since it's December of 2025. So, do that. He can apply for a passport once he turns 18 because I feel like it's just gonna be easier to get a passport when he turns 18 opposed to trying to get one at 17. And then he's in that weird like overlapping age. He's like, then I have time to get like buff and blah 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 blah. I'm like, dude. But I mean, I'm looking at prices for April of 26 because that's like the best gauge I can get. And hotels are really cheap. 4 nights are like $400. And they don't have like the resort fees like New York or something does. So I'm like, but flights are gonna cost me fucking $2,000. It's criminal. Criminal! This is from Fenty Beauty. This is the Demi Glow Light Diffusing Highlighter in Pretty Pearls. But I was also thinking, like, I know if we do actually end up going on the trip, because I made the joke to my brother, I'm like, this can be my graduation gift to you / birthday present / Christmas present. And my father's like, forever. I'm like, yeah. But I'm like, I know that if we were to actually go, my father would probably 100% offer to pay for the flights. Because that's how I stayed the extra day in New York in July, because he's like, oh, I'll pay. I'm like, oh. Like, so I'm like, I know him. And I know that if both of us are going, and he doesn't get my brother a graduation present, and I never got a graduation present, or him at my graduation, because he went to the hospital that day, I know that he'll be like, oh my god, I can pay for flights. I'm like, brother. Yes, but like my brother in Christ. And then I'm gonna go in with 2 lip liners from Win Beauty. These are the Styrene Line Peptide Infused Lip Liners. I'm gonna go in with the shade Ascend, which is like a neutral taupe. And I'm gonna use that to just generally line my lips. And then I'm gonna use Perform to do a little overline. So again, this is Ascend. Gonna go with it first. And just do a little. And like I said, the Scotland trip is mostly a joke, but I would like to eventually leave the country. Especially with the state of affairs it's in. And if I were to go, I don't want to go alone. And also, if I go with my brother, no one's gonna try to mess with me. Not saying like he's big and intimidating, but like, I'm not gonna be an obviously young solo female traveler, so they won't think that they can get away with like messing with me. And that's what my brother said. He's like, oh, he's like, I want a pickpocket to try it with me. I'm like, he's like, we don't have any here. He's like, I go to the gym and get all this muscle, and for what? I'm like, he's gained 30 pounds since May. I can't lift him anymore. And then in with Perform, and I'm gonna do a little. Oh no. I feel like I've only ever used these on moisturized lips because they feel a little different to blend out than they usually do. But it's fine, everything's fine. I can make this work. No worries, no worries. But also, I've never been on a plane. I'm gonna be so honest here. He has. He's been on a plane twice. Yeah. Because he's in his school's JRTC, and they do not good enough every year to go to nationals, which are always held like summer down south. I don't remember where he said this year was, but last year was Florida, or the year before. Either way, he almost drowned at one of them. He's fine, unfortunately, but it's just one of those things that he's at least been on a plane. He knows how all of that worked, even if it may be slightly different going you know, to a different country. And then this is just a scent again. Maybe it's just the shades, because this one feels a lot creamier than Perform does. But what do I know? I'm just gonna... And then this is also from Half Magic. This is the Magic Drip Glitter Lip Gloss, but this is in the shade Blush and Lizard, which is funny because Blush and Lizard is like a purple and this is like brown and mint. But I got this on for my birthday, I think. I still haven't used it, so. Figured do a little something something. Like, it's a little brown mauve, but like it's not the same shade. Which is fine, whatever. I just haven't had a good chance to use this really. Yeah, I don't know. But it still has that gorgeous reflect that all of them have. Don't email me 23andMe. You already sent me an email today. I don't care about your founder and CEO. I feel like this kind of works. But I need to go fix my bangs. And I should be back in a second. Alright, and this is the finished look. I don't love the eyes. I also didn't think the brown eyeliner was going to be this cool toned. It was like a little, if it was like a smidge more warm toned, I think this would work. Like the lips and the cheeks, I feel like they work. The cheeks and the eyes, sure. But like something just doesn't mesh together. I don't know if it's because there's so much going on with the eyes and so much going on with the lips. But I don't know. Like I said, I just wanted to do something a little different. I had a different vision for the eyeliner, but I can only do so much with the eyeliner that I'm not already used to. So you're lucky you got this out of me. But yeah, like I said, this is the first video of the year. That's kind of wild. But yeah.